What's going on, everybody? Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, it's been a little over 2 weeks since I made a video, and a lot of you have been reaching out to me asking if I'm still covering some of this content, if I'm still involved in what is happening with AMC. And guys, the answer is yes. All right, my priorities have changed just a little bit, obviously, because I do have a newborn. It's about 3.5 months as of right now. I will get back in the saddle making videos more often than I have been as of late. But in this video, I want to cover two topics that people have continuously reached out to me talking about, getting my input on. I want to break everything down for you and give you guys just a totally different perspective, as I feel like I've tried to be really unbiased throughout this entire process, guys. So let's get right into it. First off, there still is no decision. Okay, so at the end of last month, the court had presented this to the judge, and the judge said, listen, that's fine. Let me take in this information, kind of digest it, and go over a couple things. She's probably going to look for some, added information as she goes through it. And eventually we will get notice whether this approval is going through. Now, a few weeks ago when I did make a video, okay, there was a third-party individual that had come in. All right, this is right here. Her name is Special Master Corinne Elise Amato. All right, she was on behalf of the state of Delaware, had come in and said, listen, after going through all of this, I recommend that you favor the conversion. Obviously, just because there is a recommendation does not mean it is going to go through, but there is no deadline for when this announcement. I know people are saying it's going to happen this week, it's going to happen next week. But as of right now, everything that I'm reading is there is no specific deadline as of just yet. Okay, I will take a look quickly at the charts, guys. And the reason why I want to look at the charts is really just specifically, investors are still pricing an inefficiency. Okay, you're taking a look at APE right here. It's sitting at just under $2 right now. If you take a look at AMC, it's about 430, 440, kind of bouncing around that 440 to 450 range as of right now, still holding four very well. But that is about a little over about let's say about a 2.3 to 1 ratio, right? So we've talked about this numerous times. If this does go through, you're going to see a decrease in AMC, okay, and an increase in APE. Now, this might be something that is very quick. It's going to be the market trying to kind of equalize this, very similar to what we saw once APE was created, right? If you go back on your charts all the way to August of last year, you could see right at the open, AMC immediately pulled down, and the market efficiently had priced that, okay? Does not mean it is going to last, does not mean it cannot, attract some serious algorithm, whether it's buying or selling, to bring the price in either direction. But as of right now, okay, the market is still pricing that inefficiency. Okay, what I mean by that is, if the market was pricing that there was a greater chance of this going through, you would see that gap a little bit shorter, right? Not to say it's not going to go through, it's just what I'm seeing as of hindsight, just for right now. Okay, and like I said, this could change, obviously coming closer. Obviously, guys, as you've seen numerous times before, it always seems like we are the last to know, right? You take a look, we talk about options and news being dropped, somebody always knows. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is, there was a rumor talking about AMC going bankrupt. I guess it was a fake Reuters Twitter, but a lot of people had reached out to me asking kind of where I was, and like I said, I'm sorry, guys, I don't create the same amount of content. I do miss it. I really do miss it, and I will get back to us, not only covering just AMC or the market overall, but we're starting to see a big shift over the last few months. Okay, we're seeing some really good high growth stocks really being steady, so it kind of gives a little bit more slow and steady comfortability to the market, especially if you're not into that day trading or trading options or so forth. And I will get back into covering that very, very shortly as my schedule free up just a little bit. But for right now, it is what it is. But let me talk about this AMC and the bankruptcy rumors and so forth. So a lot of people are like, listen, where does your opinion, where it stands from when it comes to AMC, right? And that's all it is, guys, is my opinion. And there's a couple things here. So first off, yes, AMC does need to raise capital. We've talked about that numerous times. Just because they raise capital still does not get them out of the water. Okay, right? So if you take a look at their first quarter, earnings, which we had gone over, I did shortly after it had come out. We talked about the entirety of this right up here at the top. Okay, total revenues 954. Net loss 101 million. This is going over, like I said, the entirety of it. Okay. you're taking a look at a company that right now is reporting a net loss of $102 million, let's just say, which is fine, right? So they're burning their cash. But the other issue is it's not that they're just operating at a loss. They still have a massive debt service, okay? And what I mean by debt service is the amount of interest that they have to pay on what is borrowed, okay? Right? So let's kind of break this down, right? You take out a mortgage, $300,000 mortgage. Obviously, interest rates are very high right now. Okay, you pay at monthly. At the end of your 30 years, you're paying somewhere, depending on what your interest rate is going to be, somewhere between, let's say, for that $300,000 mortgage, anywhere between $500,000, potentially even $700,000 or $800,000, or if you so forth. Obviously, like I said, it all depends on your interest rates. And that is what goes into your entirety of your mortgage. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to a company that is going to have to service their debt. However, the difference is when you are on a home, you have income coming in, you take your income that is coming to you, and you take, hopefully, just a portion of it to be able to pay your mortgage, right? So let me break that down to another example for you. I wrote it on a beautiful Google Docs. Very nice here, guys. Nothing fancy. But picture this, guys. And you've watched people run into this numerous times, right? Credit card debt, $20,000, interest 19%, which is close to what interest rate is right now. Your monthly interest payment off of that $20,000, and obviously this number will decrease as your entirety of your balance decreases, is $317. And how many times, all right, whether you or someone you know, you've seen all of a sudden its minimum payment comes in at just $359, when literally 85 to 90% of that entire payment is going towards interest. It's going to take you 137 months to pay this off, and your entirety is going to be $48,000 paid. We've seen that, right? The issue is, right, when you look at this, like, wow, that's an awful plan to be able to pay it off. And yes, it is, but you can pay it off. But what if you still had to utilize your available balance to be able to survive? Meaning you didn't have anything more than the minimum payment, $359, and you still even had to use some of this viable, available debt every single month in order to buy necessities. These are real life situations, that individuals are in, they have been in, and will continue to be in, especially as inflation continues to run rampant despite the numbers that, they come out with. But what happens with that? You get yourself into a rabbit hole where you're literally only paying interest, right? And I've talked to people before where they come back and they might not budget their money very well. They might not even understand their books or understand how interest works or so forth, but they're literally, after paying X amount of dollars, $360 every single month, after 3 years, they owe even more, right? Or they still owe the same amount, or nothing's been paid down. And that's because you've got yourself in this revolving door and you're so deep that you cannot get out. Well, that is a situation that AMC will eventually get themselves into, especially if earnings or revenue continue to stay somewhat flat. Their debt service is their biggest burden, let alone, obviously, their operating costs are large, just because you have to think this is a company, that, people aren't really going to see a movie Monday morning at 11 a.m. Obviously, summertime, that is subject for argument. But in general speaking, you got to think these Thursday nights, these Friday nights, Saturday nights, potentially Sundays, those are times where people go out to see the movies. They have these massive buildings, they need to heat, you have to pay energy costs, electrical costs, operations, and so forth are massive, right? So you have this company has this huge overhead, this very big debt service, and they have no access to be able to raise capital. It's only a matter of time unless things vastly change. Adam Aron has done everything, by creating popcorn, as many other revenue streams as he possibly can to be able to get out of it, right? So, two things. One, AMC going bankrupt short term, I do not think so. Medium to long term, a lot of things can happen, right? You're taking a look at their debt service, you're taking a look at their revenue, you're taking a look at what their, year over year revenue growth is, right? It's this, you got to think, guys, this is not the movie. This is the movies. This is not, Tesla back, a few years ago where, electric cars and their popularity was only going to grow at a rapid pace. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So it's much different here. Short term, no. Medium to long term, they still have a lot of struggles, which is why they're looking to be able to raise this capital. Now, is raising the capital going to be that seal in the deal where it could not happen? No. No, because things need to change in a much larger aspect, and the amount of capital that they're going to be able to get out of this, I don't think is going to be enough, right? So I know people talked about like those rumors, and I hope this kind of clarified just a little bit for you. I hope you also loved my wonderful Google Docs with absolutely no drawing for you guys. But that is it for this video, guys. I will be back soon. I'll keep you posted. I'll see you in the next one.